The Buffalo Sabres, following yet another loss last night to the New Jersey Devils, they hit a boiling point on Wednesday and fired head coach Ralph Krueger. Time for some instant analysis presented by Tylenol Rapid Release Gel Caps. Rapid release for rapid relief as we welcome in our insider, Elliotte Friedman. Elliotte, not a huge surprise here. You alluded to the fact that Buffalo was contemplating a coaching change with all the misery that's taken place with the Sabres this year. And finally, the axe has fallen on Ralph Krueger.
David, everybody could see it. Some kind of change had to happen. 12 losses in a row, and some of them looked really ugly, including the one on Monday night at home to Washington. And I think the other thing, too, that you're really worried about is some of the young players just aren't developing, like Rasmus Dahlin, who's supposed to be a key cornerstone of your franchise. It just couldn't continue. Something had to go or change. And, you know, obviously it's so tough to make trades right now that is the simplest change that you can potentially make. And you know, Ralph Krueger is a guy who tries to be positive no matter what, but you're like me and like a lot of fans out there, you watch all of those Zoom calls after games and there's nothing wrong with tough questions, but I thought it reached a point where it was almost cruel and unusual punishment. Like, you know, like it just kept on going. It was harsh. The players were beaten down. The coach was beaten down. I'm sure even some of the media members were like, there's nothing else I can say here anymore. And something in that situation has to give. And as positive as Krueger is, I'm sure on some level, it's a relief to him too, because it's clear whatever the message was, it just wasn't working.
Yeah, I have to imagine Ralph Krueger obviously is a very established head coach. But wasn't able to turn things around in Buffalo. So enter interim head coach Don Granado. Of course, we know the Granado name through Cammy as well as Tony, his two siblings. What about Don Granado, though? Because for those who haven't heard a lot about him, he has a pretty good pedigree as far as a head coach goes. 16 years in the USHL, the AHL, the ECHL, and now he is at the NHL level.
Well, when things started happening about a week or so ago that people were thinking that maybe there could be a change, one of the things that some people were saying, David, was if they didn't go permanent right away, Don Granado made a lot of sense as an interim kind of person for all the reasons you just mentioned. And the other thing there too is, and this is key, it's a younger league now. Players are coming in and getting bigger roles at younger ages than ever. And as you talked about, he's familiar with young players and certainly would be familiar with a lot of them, whether he's coached them or he's coached against them, players in the league now. So I think it was something that made a lot of sense. He's had a very good reputation with young players. I think the other interesting thing too is, you know, Matt Ellis has been in the development side and knows Kevin Adams for a long time. He's now on the bench. And Dan Girardi, although he won't be able to do anything right away because of quarantine, it's clear that what they're doing with those guys is they, especially Girardi and Ellis, former NHL players, I think they want them to see these guys up close because they're going to be making a lot of crucial decisions for the future of the franchise. And I guarantee, you know, one of the things that the Sabres, I think, kind of feel is they need to add to their organization. They need to have some more views. And I'm sure that they're looking at Ellis and Girardi and saying, tell us what you think about these guys as players once you see them up close.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. And Don Granado, it's worth noting, he has been with the Sabres organization for a couple of years. He was helping run the power play. The power play has been one of the only bright lights for the Sabres this year. So maybe that helped with the decision to elevate him to interim head coach. Meanwhile, really quickly, just want to know about a possible assistant GM situation with the Sabres.
You know, honestly, David, as I look at the whole situation, their staff is kind of thin. And they've got some big decisions to make in terms of the draft and trades. And I don't think there's anything wrong with getting more opinions. I think Kevin Adams has the right idea mapping out their future, but you just need more people to talk to. And he said in his media conference today, he's looking at hiring an assistant GM. I think one possibility is Jason Karmanos, who's been in Carolina and most recently Pittsburgh.
So interesting development there with the Buffalo Sabres. There's nowhere to go but up, dead last in the league in points. They're going to miss the postseason for a 10th straight year. And the Don Granado interim situation will begin Thursday against the Boston Bruins. Thanks, Elliotte.
Thanks, Dave.